Okay, video number 2 in the series. We've just reloaded another 50 rounds of 41 Magnum ammunition, but I have run out of primers now. So the procedure for reloading the primers into the primer magazine. Well, you start over here and you grab a box of large CCI large pistol primers. All the brick of primers, you take a sleeve. And you take your sleeve of primers over to the loading bench. So then you'll need a primer tray to simplify flipping the primers over, because it never fails. A lot of them end up upside down. And you'll need a primer tube. This is a large primer tube. It's got the green tip on it, means it's large. And then it's got the clip in the end of it. The small primer tubes are got a yellow end on them. Same thing on the opposite end with a clip in the end of it, but it's got a yellow tip, and that has got a smaller opening for small primers. And you can see the green one is a much larger opening for the large primers. So you awkwardly take your primer tray, since you're working with one hand because you're trying to record. You open up your sleeve of primers. We're trying not to spill them while you're recording. You don't want to dump primers all over the ground. So, carefully open up your sleeve of primers. And then what you do is you take your primer flipper tray. If you look at the one side is ribbed and the other side is smooth. And you take the tray, and you sit on top of your primer sleeve tray, and you flip it upside down. Okay. Now if you shake this, you'll see any primers that are the wrong way up. You'll see there's one primer that's upside down right now. So you slightly shake this and it will flip the primer so they're all the right way up. Put the cover on it and turn it over. Now when you take it off, they're all facing upwards. And I go back and grab my green primer holder that I put away. Now, this is a pickup tube. So what you do is this green plastic end on it. You can take it to each one of the primers and you can pick them up like so. And you keep going until you've picked up your 100 primers. This is probably the most tedious part of reloading for most people. So I will stop this video here, as you don't need to see me loading up 100 primers into this thing. Okay, we can come back to the video now. You can see I've got 3 primers left to pick up, and the primer tube is now full. So if you turn it over, you'll see that one last primer at the end that gets caught in the claws. So if you just take your thumbnail or something, you press it loose. So now all your primers are stacked in this tube, nice and neat and tidy and safe. You come over to the press and you flip up the tab off the primer warning alarm, and you put the tube in the top. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do this with one hand, but we shall see. This is not making for very good filming. So I'm still struggling to figure this one out. Okay, so you pull the clip and you'll hear the primers go as they fall into the primer magazine tube on the primer feed on the press. So you put that to one side. You flip this down, that is a low primer warning alarm. And how that works is you take this follower rod and you sit it in there, and it sits on top of the primers. When this rod goes down as you're using up your primers, when it gets to the bottom, it hits that. And that lets you know you've only got about 3 or 4 primers left in the magazine. And to keep an eye on your priming, you don't want to be loading cases with no primer, because all your powder starts to fall out. It makes a big mess.